have to pee. We are doing our last Dark Academia video, and then we have some other videos to do, because we just are doing all the vids. All the vids. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to Tea and Lit. In today's video, we're going to be continuing our Dark Academia series, where I am explaining a little bit about what Dark Academia is and how you can explore the aesthetic if it's something you're interested in. Today's video is going to be things to do and places to go if you are interested in learning more about the Dark Academia aesthetic. As I said, this has been a series of videos. The first one was what is Dark Academia? The second one was types of academia aesthetics. Then I did books to check out, authors to check out, movies and TV shows to check out, artists and composers to check out, hobbies and sports to check out. And today we're going to be doing places to go and things to do if you're interested in exploring the Dark Academia aesthetic. Of course, I will put links to those videos in the description box below, and also I will put the playlist in the iCard so you can check that out, so you can see what Dark Academia kind of is about, an introductory course to Dark Academia, things that we're interested in. The number one thing to do is super obvious, and that is go to museums. I would love to go to a museum, all sorts of museums. If they don't have to necessarily be art museums, they can be history museums, science museums, any sort of museum. The thing about Dark Academia is that we are infinitely curious. That's something that I said a lot in the What is Dark Academia video. And whatever that curiosity is, maybe you don't care at all about paintings, but you are really interested in dinosaurs. You can still be into Dark Academia and not worry at all about Caravaggio, but you do want to see, you know, the Natural History Museum. So museums are a great one. Art galleries are another one. I actually don't go to art galleries. I went to one African art gallery, and that was super, super cool, but I went there years ago, and it was like a pop-up one. It wasn't there all the time, but it was super cool to see all of this gorgeous, phenomenal hand-done art from Africa. It was super cool to see. And the clothes, the textiles of the area, so much fun. But going to art galleries, and there's different types of art galleries. As I mentioned, textiles. You can go to a fashion art gallery. That totally counts. Next is places of historical significance. So in your local town, if you have a, local museum or a local park that has been dedicated, something happened there, all sorts of things. We have like a place that reenacts like the Civil War time. That has a name that I can't think of right now. But it's cool. Kids do field trips there all the time, and they do reenactments for Civil War, and that's really fun. Kind of puts you into the history of it, learning more about it. And again, getting those immersive experiences are just like gold for Dark Academia, where you can put your hands on the clothes and smell the food and tend the gardens as people did in the past is really, really special. Next up is pubs, bars, and cafes. And these are great because you can meet people of different viewpoints than you and explore ideas. Personally, I'm more into cafes, but that's because I'm sort of a daytime person. I'm not really like out at night with people drinking alcohol. That's not like a fun activity for me. But meeting new people at a local coffee shop, preferably locally owned, not necessarily Starbucks, over a hot beverage and just talking about philosophy or art or religion or history or current events, whatever it is, can be a lot of fun. Or literature. Great works of literature. So much fun. Movies. It doesn't even matter what you're talking about. But just to meet with new people and to observe new people, that's something that I thoroughly enjoy, is watching people when I go out in public, which probably makes me seem super creepy, but humans are fascinating, so they should be less interesting if they don't want people studying them. Next up, I kind of mentioned this, is parks and gardens. We have like an arboretum nearby, a conservatory. Going to these places, learning about the plants, particularly the plants that are native to your area, are really fun activities to do. One of the things I've recently gotten into natural medicine, and one of the things that I've learned is that there is medicine for every ailment in every season, in every place. I think so often in like our hyper consumer world, we think, oh, I have some sort of inflammatory response, let me drink some ginger tea. And it's like, well, I'm from Illinois. Ginger is not a naturally occurring plant here, but something else can take care of it. So if it's like a headache or something, you can do birch bark. And so I think that's really cool that you can, pull from trees in wintertime or plants in springtime and get all of the medicine that you will need to kind of move through whatever ails you. So going to parks and gardens is tons and tons of fun, and exploring what are the different things that your area has to offer in terms of its plant kingdom, and researching how those plants have kind of spread, how those plants can be used, is just tons and tons of fun. Something else, places of worship. Even if you are not religious, just architecturally speaking, they are beautiful. So we have a Hindu temple that is not too far from here that I just love driving by because it's so intricate and so gorgeous. And they light it up at night with these beautiful, beautiful lights. And it's so cool to see. There's a Baha'i temple up north, which I would love to check out. I'm Catholic, and so I have a place in my heart for Catholic churches, particularly those from the Gothic Revival style, pre-Vatican II, with the tabernacle facing east, which is probably complete gibberish to a lot of you, but that means a lot to me. But I love checking out the architecture of places of worship. For so long throughout history, places of worship have been the institutions of education, and so just recognizing that and appreciating the art, the artistry that is present in that, I think is really important. Regardless of how you feel about the religion, just the appreciation of the art and the music. I know my home church, like the organ there at my home church is super old. The stained glass is from Austria. Like there's just all these beautiful pieces of history that are included when you actually take the time to kind of step out, whether or not you agree with the religion or not, and just look at it objectively from an artistic standpoint. So places of worship are really special places to go and things to do, whether or not you believe in the religion or not. Next up is the theater of all kinds. Okay, everybody loves a good musical. I love Shakespeare. All I want in my life is to get back to the Chicago Shakespeare Theater, but also ballets and orchestras. Getting to the theater and hearing great music, seeing great plays, hearing great words spoken. The theater is a great place to go and something to do. I just realized these are all really good date ideas. If you are interested in the dark academia aesthetic and your partner is, these are things that you can do to explore dark academia together on dates. Wouldn't that be fun? I feel like my perfect date would be to go to the Chicago Art Institute and then to have a cup of tea across the street and then to head up north and go see a matinee of Shakespeare. It doesn't even matter what Shakespeare it is. I think that would be my perfect date, in case you were wondering. That would probably be it. Sad. Next up is the opera, in line with the theater. I've never been to the opera, but Chicago does have an opera house, but I've never been there. Super fun to check it out, I'm sure. Next up, of course, is concerts. Same deal. Libraries. One of my favorite places to be. I have said this before. I will say it again. The only two places you need to know where they are in a community, the local church and the local library, because all of the information you need, everything that you need to survive, will be found in those two places. I absolutely love going to libraries, and I cannot currently go to my local library because of the beer bug, and that is very upsetting to me. And we have this whole system of reserving your books, and they bring them out to you in the parking lot, and I just want to go inside and smell books. That's what I want. That's what I want, guys. So libraries are great. My library is not as beautiful as some other libraries that I've seen, but that's okay. It is functional and it does its job. Next up is art stores. I've also been to just one art store. Again, it's not still in existence, which is so sad. But to go somewhere, it's like an art gallery for free, basically. You can look around at the art, and sometimes artists are there and you can talk to them and ask them things. I would love to go to an art opening. I think that would be so glamorous and fun to check out, and to talk to an artist about, what inspired them to create their art. I think would be loads and loads of fun. Next up is bookstores, particularly used bookstores and locally owned bookstores. Please, 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 please support your locally owned bookstores. I'm going to put a video from, who did it? Somebody who did a bunch of locally owned bookstores in Chicago. I'm going to put a link to her vid. Can't remember who did it, but I'm going to link that. So if you're in the Chicago area and you want to check out books, please check out your locally owned bookstores. And also just Google locally owned bookstores. It's important to support your small businesses all the time, but particularly small book businesses, because they've had it really rough over the past 10 years. And they're so important, and they know more than we do, and they support local authors, which is just vital to the lifeblood of the art of literature. So please check out your local bookstores. These are all places to go. We're going to transition now into things to do. The first one is to write essays. I love researching essays. I researched an essay topic for Othello. Next up is going to be Dorian Gray, so I don't know what essay topic I'll be researching. If you guys ever want to read my essays, then please let me know. I will consider sharing them. But yeah, essay writing is actually a lot of fun. I think it's a fun way to kind of take writing just a twinge less seriously. So I started a novel years ago, like so many other people, and just cannot get back into writing it, like so many other people. And I find that writing essays on a regular and consistent basis can help put you back into the mode of writing and get you back into your book. So I think writing essays is a really great thing to try out if you are somebody who connects with writing. And if you're somebody who wants to kind of articulate the depth of your views on great literature. So like I said, I did Othello. I'll probably do one for Dorian Gray. I'm sure I'll do one for each of our like deep dives. So yeah, that's that. Oh, I forgot one of the things to do is local tours. So Chicago has an architectural tour that's awesome. But doing local tours, I know my hometown at Christmas time, they do one on like one of those little trolley things that are so cute, but also really slow. So it sucks to be stuck behind them when you're driving, but whatever. Doing local tours to get to know your local area. Like every area has history. I think that we have this idea that we have to like go to our local big city to get kind of the history of what's going on or great art, and that's actually not the case at all. There's plenty of wonderful things to explore in your hometown. So forgot about that. Next up, to go along with essays, this is so scatterbrained, oh I'm so sorry, is to do research on whatever topic. So herbal medicine is something that I'm interested in right now. For Othello, I did research on interracial relationships. So whatever is interesting to you, research it. I did the Shakespeare Spotlight video. I will be doing further Spotlight videos to explore, you know, what is it like for the artist, the author. I mentioned in a previous video, I think it was a previous video. Yes, when I did my hobbies and sports video, I mentioned how I like to research about how tea has impacted people's cultures throughout history and space. I say space, the world. Can you tell I watch too much Doctor Who? How throughout the world, how tea has had an impact on the people of different areas of the world and people of different times. So that's fun to research. I also love researching the architecture of different churches. So yeah, just do research for fun. It is okay to research for fun, guys. Next up is daydream. I wrote that down because I think that it's fun to daydream about like how to fix all the problems in the world and like how you would fix it if you could. If people would just shut up and listen to what you have to say, because clearly your ideas are better than what is being projected out into the world now. So it's fun to daydream, but you know what Dumbledore has to say about daydreams, so bear that in mind too. Next is back to writing, write a murder mystery or a heist. And I think this is fun. I haven't done this yet, but to write short stories, I think that would be really cool. Again, to get yourself into the mindset of an author. Some things that I've read about authors is that they say you should read every day and you should write every day. Even if you don't know what to write, even if you don't know what to read, you should be doing something every day, because it just like activates that part of your brain and gets those juices flowing. And so I think to get into the habit of like writing short stories, I think would be super cool to try out. I'm obviously not in that space. Next up on the list is something that I just mentioned, and that is to read. Dark academics love to read. In fact, I would say that's like one of the primary things we do, is that we read books. I did a list of authors to check out if you're interested in dark academia aesthetic. I'm staring at my bookshelf right now. I'm so bad at looking at the camera. I think that's probably why I like to wear the glasses, because I have this illusion that you're not going to be able to tell that I'm not looking at the camera, but I think that's absolute nonsense. Anyway, reading books is really good because it helps you to explore new ideas and get, intellectual new experiences, and even to do research. Even if you're reading a fictional book, you can do research. I'm feeling defensive. I'm not cold. What's my problem? What am I feeling right now? You know you're an INTJ when? I'm feeling something, but I don't know what it is, because my body language is presenting something. So clearly something's happening. I don't know. So we'll stop. Next up is perform a play. I am reading If We Were Villains, and they love plays. And I think that would be fun to perform a play. Even to just like perform monologues from plays, like memorize a Shakespeare monologue and present it to yourself in the mirror. Don't feel weird. Because, the day may come when you meet Tom Hiddleston and, you can have a thing. And he'd be so impressed that you memorized Shakespeare. And you could be like, yeah, I'm not a thespian. I'm just weird. And I had nothing better to do on my Saturday night than to memorize Mark Antony's monologue. Sad. Next up is to practice an instrument. I had mentioned, I think, in my composers video that I played the violin, didn't like it, but if I ever picked up another instrument, it would be piano or cello. I would actually really, really love to pick up piano. My great-grandmother was a composer, and her music is actually what plays at the beginning and the end of our videos, and so I would love to be able to play piano and to just kind of honor her memory in that way. Maybe someday, after I learn the 5 languages that I want to learn and conquer the world and all of those minor details. Read the complete works of William Shakespeare. It's a good thing I'm not old yet. Next up is draw or paint something. We had mentioned in the sports and hobbies video that, art is something that you can try if you're interested in dark academia, drawing and painting. My brother does lots of drawing. I've said this several times, and I'm going to keep saying it so that maybe it sinks into his lovely little head that he should share his drawing. He's very, very talented. Next up is watch a movie. I did do a list of movies and TV shows you can check out if you're interested in the dark academia aesthetic. And so anything from that list you can check out, and it can help put you in the vibe of dark academia to varying degrees. Also, I don't think I wrote this down, but to watch documentary series, I watched several of these, I think they were BBC series, and they were like the farm life during particular times. So the first one I watched was during the wartime. I watched one on the Edwardian era, the Victorian era, and the Tudor era, and I feel like there was a couple of other ones, and they were super, super fun to watch to see how people survived during those times and actually thrived during those times, and how some aspects, some of the lessons learned have kind of carried through, and how the technology has changed. And one of the things that I love so much about those series, it's got Ruth Mott, is that who it is? Let me check, because I don't want to get this wrong. Alex Langley and Peter Ruth Goodman. Ruth Mott was in a different one. Ruth Goodman, Alex Langley, and Peter Ginn. And they do so many fun things. And so, You should check your local library to see if you have those on DVD. I think one of them was on Prime, so you can check that out. But watching documentaries about points in history, and it doesn't have to be history, you know, watching Ancient Aliens on History Channel is great. So yeah, there's that. Vikings. I should have included Vikings in the TV shows. Oh, I really love that show. Next up is journal. Again, getting into the flow of writing. You can journal about anything. Journal about your day, journal about your life, journal about your hopes and your dreams, your fears and your nightmares. Journal about the way you wish the world was. Journal about what you're going to do when you can go anywhere without a mask on. Journal. Next is to write poetry. I cannot write poetry, so if you can, God bless you in your journey. I'd love to read some of your poetry. But yeah, writing poetry. Next is to do calligraphy. I also mentioned this in the hobbies video. I now have supplies for calligraphy, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, doing some calligraphy could be something that's super fun and a really great skill to acquire. I know I had mentioned my coworker who did calligraphy for fun. She also did it for writing wedding invitations for people, and she was able to make a little cash on the side. And then the last one is bookbinding. I would love to learn to bookbind. I think it would be so much fun. And that is a good activity to try. I think Sea Lemon is the channel that I found years ago where they do bookbinding, but I'll put in the description box a couple of channels you can check out if you're interested in bookbinding, some things that I've found and learned, and maybe I'll put some art channels. You know what? I'm going to put a bunch of links down below of channels that I've watched and really enjoyed, talking about topics that I've really enjoyed, so that you can explore some different aspects of dark academia to see if it's something that kind of speaks to your heart. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the last video I have planned for this series, but who really knows, because I'm full of ideas, so we'll see what that means for the future. But thank you for watching this Dark Academia series. I hope you've enjoyed it. In the description, let me know what hobbies I've missed, what places I've missed, what things you like to do to get into your Dark Academia vibe. I really like to go outside, like take a walk in the forest, take a hike, if you will, particularly in fall time and in winter time and in early springtime. I really, really love that. To come home, have a cup of hot cocoa or a cup of tea, light a candle, snuggle up in a fuzzy blanket and read or journal or whatever. I think is just like the perfect me self-care day. And I also described my perfect date because I think that would just be so fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!